Hi, Juan. I've got a proposal I think you're going to be really interested in. You know, after you pay for fruit, for labor, the third highest cost for many wineries is oak barrels. I'm going to guess at a couple of things, but the basic principle I think is right. My understanding is Columbia Crest has an inventory of about 140,000 barrels, and they last about 6 years. That's a purchase of about 23,000 barrels per year. If you were to convert 5% of those into concrete, door new barrel, there'd be a savings of $1,300,000 a year, every year. The reason for that is that a wooden barrel lasts about 6 years. Our concrete tank will last a good 30 to 40 years. And when you do the math is pretty convincing, as is the quality. I don't have to tell you about the quality. You know concrete. You've been experimenting with concrete for a number of years now. And in fact, I think you told me you were thinking of expanding the whole concrete program. So, in a quick summary, the concrete is great. It's a huge savings in cost. It's an enhancement and an improvement in the wine you make. I've got to say they're pretty good looking too. So, here's our problem. Making the new barrels is a very labor-intensive operation. We have trouble keeping up with the demand. What we're kind of contemplating is putting a dedicated
You should
factory.
start that over.
What we're thinking of doing is putting a dedicated factory in Mexico where we can get.
You gotta get that thought out clean. I was talking over you for a second, so start that thought over.
Okay. Here's the problem we're having. The making of these new barrels is very labor intensive. And we just can't keep up with the demand. One of the things we're thinking about is opening a dedicated factory in Mexico where there's plenty of labor, good high skilled quality labor, and we'll make only new barrels at that plant. Okay, so here's our proposal. We want to get 4 very carefully selected wineries to participate in a program with us. Under this program, you would commit to 2% of your oak barrel purchases the first year and 5% for the next 4 years. Very low risk, very small amount of your purchases, but it's going to amount to a huge savings. As an additional incentive, we just shipped you 4 new barrels 2-3 weeks ago, and you paid $6,750 for that. If you participate in this program, we'll reduce that to $4,000 for these first 5 years. It's a great deal because you get, sort of in summary, you get improved, enhanced tastes, everything about it. You save a lot of space in the winery, about 2/3 of the space. That's wrong. You save about 35% of the space. You have more control over the aging. The winemaker has more control over the aging. Okay. And again, at 5%, that's not much of a risk for a big winery. So what I plan to do is send you the spreadsheet so you can understand the math on it a little easier, and give you the whole proposal, and I'll send that up in the next couple of days by email. Thanks very much. Hope we can work it out together. All right, let's start all over again. Do one more.
It seemed uncertain. It seemed you didn't seem like you were believing it.
I have it all noticed and everything else happens during the day.
Can you do that?
I think I pretty well got it. All right, from the top?
Yeah, I think so.
That do it?
Can you read that?
Yeah, I think so.
I could move everything like a
No,
foot closer
let's,
to you.
let's do it. I think we're all right. Got the wrong glasses. Okay. Hi, Juan. Here's a proposal I think you're going to be interested in. You know, after you pay for the fruit and the labor, the third highest expense in many wineries is the purchase of oak barrels. I'm going to be a little off here, but my understanding is that Columbia Crest has an inventory of about 140,000 barrels. Those average 6 years. And at a cost of $800 a barrel, which is American and French oak combined, racks and whatnot, but at a cost of $8,000, that's about $14 million a year. By converting 5% of that, only 5% of that, to concrete, you will save $1,300,000 a year, every year. Pretty incredible. So when you do the math, it just makes a lot of sense. But more important than that, you're getting an enhanced wine. And I don't have to tell you, you've done an awful lot of work with concrete. In fact, I think you mentioned you were going to ramp up the concrete program. So this is right down your alley. So here's what I'd like to do. The making of new barrels is very labor intensive, and we're having trouble keeping up with the demand. Our plans are to put in a dedicated factory in Mexico where we can get good skilled labor. This will reduce our costs and will allow us to have the kind of production that we need. Before we commit to that, however, I'd like to get four carefully selected wineries, to participate in a program where they would purchase 2% of their annual barrel allotment for the first year and 5% for the next 4 years, and 5% for the next 4 years. We just shipped you 4 new barrels, and you paid $6,750 for those. As a special incentive, and this is an incentive for only these 4 wineries, we will sell you these at $4,000, depending upon your options, approximately $4,000. So there it is. It's a great proposal. I think it will make a lot of difference in the wine you make. Certainly it does on your profit margin, and we hope you'll go for it. I'll be sending you by email the spreadsheet explaining this in more detail, as well as the whole proposal for you. Thanks very much. Look forward to working with you. Better?
A little.
That's it? That's pretty good.